Okay, this is supposed to be a simple guide to one way of sowing fern spores. So in this case it's Platycerium ridleyi. And that focus on that. So what I've done is yesterday I got some fairly fine charcoal. It was biochar actually, and put it in the bottom of this, and then filled it up 2/3 of the way with ericaceous compost, which is an acidic compost for plants of the ericaceae, which seems to be quite suitable for platyceriums. And it's just easy. It's very useful when you come to dividing them. If you use plain sphagnum moss, if you don't chop it up, when you come to divide the little plantlets, the little sporelings, you just rip all the roots apart, and they hate that and often just die. So if you do use sphagnum moss, then you need to chop it up very finely to make it easier to divide them later on. But this just ericaceous compost has worked fine for me. So then what I did was I boiled some rainwater and I just poured it on the inside of this lid and through the compost, put the lid straight on and let it cool down overnight. So this is the method I'm using at the moment. I've got this metal gauze, which is, as you can see, the mesh count 40 per square inch, that is. So what I'm going to do is, just as a precaution, I'm going to, this is isopropyl, which is really the only alcohol you should be using in association with plants. And anyway, I'm going to use it on this, I'm just going to dribble it on this gauze as a precaution to kill any alien spores that might be there. Which is, I didn't actually do that last time I did this. This is the first time I'm doing it, just as a sort of extra precaution. Might be overdoing it really, but actually it's not spreading. You can see it's not spreading around very well, is it? But it does evaporate quite quickly. This might just be pointless, quite honestly. It looks too complicated, doesn't it? Anyway, I'll try a bit harder. Try a bit harder on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the spores as they came, which is with all the trichomes, the hairs, you know, that come off with the spores. I just put a few on there. You'll see what I do. The thing is, now I'm just sort of wafting this around to make the alcohol evaporate. Now what I'll also do is I shall put a bit of this on my fingers, just a bit. Wait for that to evaporate, because what I've got here is a mycorrhizal inoculant, TNC Mycor Max. Now that's spores of mycorrhizal fungi and a few other things. What I started to do was sprinkle it on this medium before or just at the same time as sowing the spores. So, you know, this isn't proven or anything, but the idea is that anything that grows from these spores will be good and may well counteract any bad fungi that grow in there. That's the theory. And well, I can put it this way, it hasn't failed yet. So I'm literally going to use my fingers this time and just pull a bit out, and just got to be quite quick with this because there are fungal spores in the air. You know, they're all around us. There's no getting away from them. Right. So that's the. I mean, I don't think you really can stop fungal spores getting into this unless you are in strict laboratory conditions. I think you just have to give it your best shot. So it's this. I think this has dried out now. Right, so here we go for the next bit. And this is this part is a very delicate operation. You will always sow 10, 50, 100 times more spores than you think you are sowing. So you've really got to have self-control and sow the tiniest amount. There are different methods of doing this, but this is the one I'm going to use today. So I try to keep this lid facing somehow down so other spores can't land on it, and just do this quickly and carefully. So I'm literally going to tap a few of these spores. Oh my gosh, look at that. Right, now you see that? Okay, they came out in a clump, didn't they? Right, so you can only do your best with this. So I'm just going to literally tap. Now I've probably already sown more than I need, but it's just so difficult to believe it, isn't it? Right, now I have to see, I've ended up with far more out of this bag than I wanted, quite honestly. So I will make a vain attempt to get them back in. Well, so the question is, what will I do with what's left on that? I think I'll just... Right, so I'm quite confident now that I'm sowing more than I really want to in there. But I'm stuck because I don't know what to do with what's left on that. But that'll do. That's it. That's it. So now I'll close this. But I will leave a tiny gap there just for a bit of air circulation, and that is now done. I found fresh ridleyi spores can actually start to germinate within 2 weeks in warmth, and within 6 months to a year, in the right conditions, you can have a nice young plant. I've had the first fertile fronds appear in 6 months from sowing the spores, about 6 months. So that's it. And then you don't want to, you only want a very slightest sun on this. Very weak sun. If you get strong sun on this, it will just bake and cook. But apart from that, just keep it in good light, and temperatures between 20 and 30 degrees centigrade would be about right. Obviously, the warmer it is, the faster they'll germinate and grow. Yeah, that's about it.